Hey everybody, it's LavenderTowne, and today I'm going to be testing out some TikTok art tutorials.
Paint your canvas tan. Add the shape of a face, then you're going to contour. You're going to shade that in a little bit. Add some eyeshadow, lipstick, and some blush. You're going to add some eyes, then outline the hair, then fill the hair in. Then you're going to grab a thin, skinny paintbrush and flick the wrists for them lashes. Grab your paint markers and draw some squiggly lines around her. Then you're going to grab a blue marker and go around her one time. Now you have this beautiful painting.
So this first tutorial is by West Coast Cassie, and basically I found it really interesting because of the steps that she took in that particular order. I'd never really tried painting that way, so I thought I'd give it a shot. So as she instructed, I made the background completely like a beigey kind of tan color, and then I just made a face shape and started putting in the things that she described. It was really interesting that she was talking about everything sort of in makeup terms, talking about like eyeshadow, blush, contouring, and I'd never really heard of someone structuring the face that way before, but I did my best. I don't usually paint without any sort of like sketch underneath. That was another thing that I was a little more surprised by, and it was really interesting trying to like structure the painting, thinking about what lines I was going to put down, but not really using the lines as guidance, but rather sort of using them to gauge the colors that I had put down before. The only time I can recall really doing this previously was in my disastrous trying out manga supplies from Japan video, where I put a water-soluble ink down and then tried to color over them with Copics. So I was forced to do this style instead, but even then I was basically just coloring in my sketch underneath. So this was the first time really trying to like paint without guidelines and then ink over that. I ended up going with this girl. She's pretty pale. She has like blue hair and these sort of pinkish eyes. I just thought those colors would go nice with the like sort of very neutral creamy background. I just wanted to give it a bit more color. And I ended up having to give her that Steve Jobs fit because I didn't actually leave any like skin color area for her neck. I realized now I was supposed to use that tan color that I put in the background as like her neck, which is also a really interesting and clever sort of way to do that, but I kind of forgot about it, and so I just ended up using this black to sort of cover that up and give her a body. Lastly, I was just doing some finishing touches. I put in that blue outline and the squiggly lines that were described in the tutorial, and I think it turned out really interesting. You can definitely tell that I did something different. It definitely has a different look than my usual art, but all in all, not too bad.
What's up, TikTok? New drawing trend. First, take your paper and fold it in any way you want. The crazier the folding, the better. Mine looks a little like this. Then take your pen and draw a face or animal or whatever you want all over top of your folds. I'm gonna do a face. After you have your face drawn, you're gonna do something really crazy. Take your paper and unfold it like this. It looks really weird, but stick with me. This is where it gets wacky. Connect to the lines where there's space. Then you get some crazy wacky drawing that you can have nightmares of for years to come.
So this one seemed like a pretty simple idea. I think I'd even tried something like this in my past, like when I was in elementary school or something. So I started off really confident. I folded it up a bunch of times and I wanted it to be really geometric, so I tried to do more clean folds than the crumply sort of ones I saw on the TikTok. And I was really confident this was going to be cool, but there were a few issues I ran into right away, making this basically a complete fail. So as you can see, her face, most of it was centered in the middle, and so her facial features didn't get disrupted that badly. The other problem was I folded it in such a way that a lot of the drawing ended up on the back of the paper, so it ended up being kind of a total fail. I thought I would give it another try. Now this time I focused on making sure that most of the drawing was going to end up on the same side of the paper. Seems very obvious in retrospect now. I felt pretty dumb when I unfolded it and realized that huge chunks of my drawing were now on the back. But I was was determined to make this work somehow, so I tried to crumple it up in more of like an accordion style, and I just drew this sort of like vampy girl. I didn't really have any particular plan or ambition for the drawing. I just wanted to make sure that the face was actually the thing getting distorted this time, and not the sort of corners of her head. So I made sure to draw it right across those folds, and honestly I find the hardest part about this is just drawing it properly when the paper is so textured like that. Then when I unfolded it, I wanted to do just straight lines, so it would almost look sort of like glitched, like when a JPEG isn't loading right. And I thought that would look really cool, but in the end, she just looks like, I don't know, it looks like a really bad piece of like manga art from like the 90s, you know, when their faces are just like stretched really crazy. I'm not really happy with it, but it was fun to do anyway.
Paint one side pink, then the other blue. Shade them together. Spray paint a yellow circle on the pink side. Then you're going to grab your white and do the same. Now add some face features on the moon, then do the same with the sun. Now add some clouds and some stars. Now grab a skinny long brush and outline. Add some more faces to some of the clouds. Grab your Posca markers and make some little designs or add some dots to flow with the stars. Now flick that wrist for them lashes. All done.
Originally, when I saw this TikTok, I actually saw someone else's version of it. I didn't realize I was putting in 2 tutorials from West Coast Cassie. That's my bad, but I thought this one seemed interesting because a lot of the art tutorials I was finding were specifically about drawing faces or, you know, humans, basically, human characters. And I thought that it would be cool to try out more of, I guess, kind of like a landscape, but sort of a celestial kind of painting. So I wanted to follow this one as well. So first things first, I put down the pink and the blue, shaded them together just like she described, and I wanted to put the sun and moon sort of at an angle from each other. I thought it would be cuter that way, and that's also how I saw the other person do it. I just feel like it balances out the painting better. And then she's really vague with the facial features, so you can kind of just put in whatever. I just had them sort of like shyly looking at each other from afar, and I gave them certainly more of like a cutesy sort of anime kind of look, more so than even my usual style. I just thought it would suit their round little faces well. They kind of look like they're siblings, like the sun is the older sister to the moon or something like that, and she's looking encouragingly down at her more shy, more reserved moon sister. That's kind of the narrative that I had in my mind. The next step was to add stars and clouds. I added the clouds mostly on the sun side and obviously the stars mostly on the moon side, and I tried to just blend the colors together, the warm and the cool, in a nice sort of way. Like I had the stars be warm and most of the clouds be cool, so that we get sort of a nice blend of those tones and colors across the entire picture. And then she said to add faces to the clouds, which in the first TikTok that I saw of this challenge, that artist didn't add faces to their clouds, but I decided to go in between and have very like subtle, very cute little faces on the clouds. Nothing as detailed as the sun or the moon, and then it was basically done. I was surprised how much I liked this one. This was really relaxing, really fun, and turned out really cute, even though it is like kind of a weird premise. I really like it.
Time for another fun drawing exercise. Get some colored markers or colored pencils. Get a white sheet of paper. Fill up the paper with random shapes and color them in. Boom, now fill up the rest of the page. Kind of like this. And then without any planning, add some faces to all of them. There's one, now time to fill in the rest. And then I added in some details, and this is what I came up with. Try it for yourself and let me know what you think. See you.
Now, in my very first TikTok video, I did a similar challenge to this. This is actually a very common art challenge that really helps you visualize and sort of just like open up your visual library, I guess. But I wanted to do this one because it was just specifically faces, and I find the more specific the prompt is with these things, the more challenging and the more fun it is. So I wanted to give it a shot. One thing about this that I think worked really, really well was that it forced me to consider characters that I otherwise wouldn't, because in the previous time that I've done this challenge, anytime there was a shape that just looked too weird to be somebody's face or head, I turned it into like an animal or something like that, just a completely different object, whereas in this one I really had to try and figure out how to make this weird shape into a person. Sometimes I tried to use like clothes, like this hood, in order to sort of get around that, but other times it forced me to create characters that I honestly wouldn't have otherwise, and I think that that's so powerful in a challenge like this. It really shows the value of sort of pushing yourself and making yourself not sort of stick to the same structure when you're developing like characters or just drawing in general. Though I do think it came up with some truly ugly character designs, it also had me thinking about things like facial hair and other sort of blocking shape sort of elements of a character design that I otherwise absolutely wouldn't. In fact, I almost never draw facial hair on my characters, which I honestly don't know why not. I mean, I think it's a great way to make your male characters look more interesting, but yeah, this really got me thinking about that more. As soon as I put that full beard on that dude, it really made me realize how much I've been ignoring a huge like potential for making characters with unique sort of silhouettes. So expect to see some more mustachioed and bearded individuals in my future videos, because I feel like a changed artist. But enough gushing about beards and facial hair. Here is how the page turned out. I think it looks really cute, and more importantly, it really made me feel warmed up to make more drawings. I feel like I should have done this one first.
Let's go again! Day 2! Fairies. You can choose to make them female or male presenting because, I mean, they're fairies, so it doesn't matter. Their skin should be your favorite color. If you're female, give them dragonfly wings. If you're male, butterfly wings. If you fall somewhere else in the spectrum, make them fold down like beetle wings. Color the wings to match your birthday season. Do you celebrate Christmas? Give them antlers. Hair color doesn't matter, but if you have short hair, give them long hair. If you have long hair, give them short hair. Do you have an older sibling? Give them a pet bug. Do you have a younger sibling? Give them a tail. No siblings? Give them some antenna. Here we go!
So to finish this off, I had to do one of these character design challenges where you put different aspects of yourself into the character design. I really liked this idea, and I really wanted to try drawing a character with dragonfly wings and antlers and all this stuff. So I wanted to start off with a pose. I ended up making her look sort of lazy and tired, just because I feel like my first instinct was to make a very like energetic sort of fairy, and I wanted to do something different than that. So I just tried to follow all of the rules. There were a lot of different rules about what you're supposed to do in this one, which I suppose is kind of the point. So just to recap, I added dragonfly wings because I'm a girl. I had short hair on her because I have long hair, antlers because my family celebrates Christmas, and what else? Her skin was supposed to be my favorite color. I have a lot of different favorite colors, so I was not sure which one I should go with, but I ended up going with sort of a baby pink because that is the color that shows up the most when I like have a choice to pick a color in something. I almost always pick that color. I was hoping to do something more interesting for the skin tone, but I just wouldn't be honest if I picked any other color, to be honest. So I also ended up giving her a tail because I have a younger sibling. That was really weird because I feel like it makes her look way more like an imp, but I couldn't figure out how else to incorporate a tail into this character design. I felt like a fluffy animal tail would just look bizarre. And initially I gave her a green outfit because I was like, oh, that'll contrast well with the pink, but then I realized this looks way too much like some off-brand Tinkerbell, so I had to change it. I also gave her some unnatural colored freckles, sort of like blue freckles, and some sparklies on her face just to make her look a little more magical. And her hair, I kind of made it just sort of a whitish color. And lastly, I colored in the wings for my birthday month. I didn't really understand what she meant by that, but I just turned it purple like my birthstone, which I thought was close enough. So that was me trying a variety of different TikTok art tutorials. I found them all very fun, so I recommend you trying these out as well if you have the time and the energy and you want to. Oh, and a quick announcement before you go. Thanks to you guys, my limited edition plush is fully funded, so it's going to be made, and if you want to order one for yourself, there's less than a week to do so, so please check the link in the description. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you to all of my patrons, including Abnormal Crap, Ambrose, Best Kaiju, Lion, Christopher, Clockwork Construct, Dark Jelly, Dr. Casket, Larry Louie, Emily Borgoing, Fabletel, Juliana Davis, Griffix, Hidden Squid, Ice Cream Pal, Ivan Rodriguez, JJJ, John Mosket, Joseph Copel, Lauren, Blah, Liliana Hammond, Maria Costa, Mr. Dr. Pants, Mia Lavali, Nicole Ludwak, Nicolette Queen, Nora Cornelison, Hugh Musgrove, Rainwater Pearls, Rune Raincrow, Snow White, Some Mediocre Artists, Sparky Plays, The Becky, Tom David Johansson, Trace Subaki, Violet Zirkelbach, Yaboyasti, and Yume Lily.